What do science and mythology have in common? Quite a bit when it comes to the history of astronomy. Ancient cultures used their imaginations and their stories to explain what they saw in the night sky and to determine their place in the cosmos, in some ways filling a need not unlike our own efforts to understand the universe today. In his recent book, Dr. Anthony Aveni explores the similarities between past and present astronomy. Hello, Dr. Aveni, and welcome to Inside Space.
Nice to be here.
Throughout history, we've tried to explain how the universe was created. How has our most recent explanation, the Big Bang, changed the way we now view creation?
Well, the Big Bang makes all of us, I suppose, feel alone and helpless and perhaps hopeless in the universe, doesn't it? It gives us a definite beginning, and in some versions it gives us a very definite end to that universe. The script we opted for about 500 years ago during the great age of the Renaissance was one that separated the human spirit and consciousness from the material universe. Ever since then, we believed in a universe that's constructed out of mathematical laws. We experiment by looking through telescopes and trying to verify our hypotheses. Well, you get the language I'm using here. It's one that has very little to do with human participation.
So are you saying you're debating the scientific evidence of the Big Bang, or are you debating scientific evidence in definition?
Well, good question. I think we're talking about how we define and perceive the universe. And what I'm trying to suggest is that the universe that we create in our minds, the story of that universe, is based on mathematical principles, based on experimentation, based on what we see through telescopes. It's a universe that follows the rules that we set up in advance. And remember what that primary rule was, that there is no place for human consciousness in the frame of things. Now, those of us who begin to study modern quantum mechanics and begin to look down into the very core of the atom, begin to realize that maybe that universe does have part of us in it. We may be stuck in that tar baby. And I think right now we're trying to work through the problems of understanding the validity of this story as we frame it.
Is there any existence of God within the Big Bang theory?
Well, God, I think for the scientist, for the person who studies the natural world, would be the part of the story that we cannot explain by using scientific laws.
Is creation cyclical? I mean, could it actually happen over and over again?
Anyone who lived in the Fertile Crescent, the land between the Tigris and the Euphrates 3,000 years ago, would have believed in cyclic destruction and recreation. For the rivers flood their valleys and destroy everything during the rainy season. And then the sun comes out and bakes the land, and then life starts another cycle. So when we look at the way nature behaves, even from watching the sun rise in the morning and set in the evening, watching the moon's phases, watching even the cycles of nature unfold over long periods of time, of course the universe is cyclic. Now, I think our big bangers are debating that issue right now, aren't they?
Yes.
They're wondering about whether there'll be a cosmic crush billions of years from now and everything will come back together. This idea about cyclicity, about the repetition of time, is born within us. I think we see it in every aspect of life.
Well, I want to thank you very much for being on Inside Space and offering us your perspective on everything. And if you'd like to get the book, it's Conversing with the Planets. Next up, stepping into the future with Babylon 5.